this show today talking about Funny Marco and Bobbi Althoff. For those unaware, they announced a tour, I think about 9-10 months ago in 2023, and it was supposed to run into 2024. They end up getting into it, calling the tour off once because Bobbi had her own issues. In this video coming up, you'll hear her explain what her issues was at that time. Funny Marco stayed by her side, according to him, and wanted to relaunch the tour. And for some reason, he's unhappy with the results that he received from that tour, right? Today, we're going to have a real conversation with the coach about some of these things. Not only are we going to talk about tour, but we're going to talk about much more than that. Let's take a look at what Funny Marco said as he announced canceling his tour with Bobbi 9 months after they started. Pay attention.
That shit bad to say about nobody. But when people pay their hard working money, I really, really care about that. So when I'm on stand-up tour and I'm selling out these tours and then me and Bobbi be able to come together and people are paying their money to come see us, I really want that to get better. I don't want it to be the same. I don't want to take nobody money if you can't get it again. Let me start there. Let me say that. If you can't get the money again, you don't need to be doing it twice. That's like with anything. With promo, if you're doing promo, don't be out here trying to scramble for money and take people hard work money to just do it and use your platform and then go about your day, because it's about like a relationship. A relationship is very, very important. So the fact that I feel like I did stand up before and I'm still doing it. So I understand I'm learning how to entertain a crowd. And it's not the same thing that you get on Instagram. This is real life where people are going to look and they want the energy and they want the feeling. And I feel like Bobbi was stiff a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, hey man, let's really, really work on this. Like, and I paid scriptwriters, like, let's really get him a show. And where she told me, that's not me. Bobbi was like, my comedy is me not talking a lot. And I'm like, shit, this is different. Like, you can do that on the podcast, but in real life, this is different. So her comedy was different from what she said, from what she wanted to bring to the show, which I can respect. You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing about me getting mad. I'm not saying you're doing nothing wrong. I can't, but I just don't agree with it. Don't agree with it. You feel me? The same way she probably don't agree with what I do. So you're not wrong for how you feel. But again, when people pay them tickets and I just feel like, and I'm trying to put a production show together and then you're not saying nothing and I'm up there trying to talk and I'm like, hey, Bobbi, and you're just like this. It was just like, it was hurting me because I know people are paying their hard. Like, it could be their last money. It could be, they don't care about it. Like, I got the money. But again, if you don't pay to see something twice, I don't want to do it again. I wanted it to get better, but Bobbi was just in her ways of doing it how she wanted to do it. And I was in my ways to do it how I want to do it. So nobody's in the wrong when it comes to that. But on my end, to explain to y'all, I just wanted more out of Bobbi. I wanted her to dance more. I wanted her to talk. And the audience was, hey, believe it or not, a lot of people was coming to see her. So like, her fan base is big. A lot of people were seeing her. You know, as much as I'm selling out on tour, a lot of people was coming to see her. So that was a beautiful thing. So I'm happy, like, man, they coming to see her. Like, hey, this, you can go along with this. Like, you can really make your podcast go live and taking it and bring your other guests on there. But again, she was doing it her own way. And I want entertainment. I want you to learn something. I want you to laugh. I want you to walk away and be like, damn.
What you just heard was Funny Marco putting himself out there, letting him know he's canceling the tour with Bobbi. The boy run an audible like Peyton Manning. The boy run an audible like Peyton Manning. You hear me? What he found out was that, in his opinion, Bobbi was not up to par, so he flushed the whole tour. This was after he made a significant investment, according to him. I want you to hear Bobbi's side, and then we'll give some commentary. Pay attention.
All right, Marco. I guess this is how we're doing this now. I saw your video. Not gonna lie, I was a little shocked. So here's my version of what happened. Last year, we were supposed to go on tour, and I backed out last minute because my husband had just left me. I just had surgery, and I was super nervous going into this because I was not prepared. And I text Marco, and I said, Marco, I'm so sorry to do this, but I am so depressed right now. I literally want to myself. He doesn't reply to me, and then he unfollows me. I woke up from surgery actually to him unfollowing me. And not only that, in the coming weeks, he would go on multiple podcasts and talk about how much he didn't fuck with my style of humor. Fast forward some time, I'm in Vegas doing an interview, and he bumps into me, and I'm like, oh, hey, stranger. He's like, let's go on tour again. I'm like, all right, fine, let's do it. During this tour, I'm trying my best. Every time I'm telling him, like, Marco, he's like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, Marco, I'm trying my best, but, like, it's hard for me to get out of my comfort zone of, like, I have social anxiety, like, debilitating social anxiety. That's why this whole thing of me, it's not fully a character. I actually am socially awkward. socially awkward. It's embarrassing. I don't want to be, so I lean into it. And I am doing my best on this stage. Our last show, I try my best to get out of my comfort zone. I drink a little, and I thought it went so well. I was like, Marco, I did everything you said, and like, I actually felt really good about it. I felt like I really got out of my comfort zone. I really felt good about it. And he's like, yeah, you killed it. It was great. Fast forward a couple more weeks, and I hear from my team that he canceled it, and I'm like, what the hell? Marco canceled the show. Like, why? They're like, I don't know. So I'm like, and he bumps into me, and I'm like, oh, hey, calling him, doesn't answer me. I'm like, okay, congratulations on the baby, doesn't answer me. He just won't answer me, but then he's tagging me in posts of Taylor Swift dancing and being like, that's Bobbi. And I'm like, okay, at least we're still cool. Fast forward to today, and I get tagged in a video of Marco standing by a pool talking to everybody about why he canceled the tour. I don't know anything. Anyway, with all of that said, I'm gonna go on my own tour since you don't want to go on tour with me anymore. And calling him, doesn't answer me. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be great.
That last part was the shade. It's gonna make money and it's gonna be great. Now, I love Funny Marco. I support Funny Marco. I actually support Bobbi as well. But I got to get in podcast land with this conversation. I hate that we have to frame all our conversations that way, but it's important that people know that we have love for them when we have these conversations, right? And we're not just critical of people. We actually appreciate what they bring to the game. So, number one, let's wish support on Funny Marco's tour, on Bobbi's tour. Let's hope that both of those people have a monumental tour and they sell out all across the globe. Right? All right. Now that that's out the way, can I take y'all in podcast land for a second? If I'm doing my job as a podcaster and I ask myself, how did they get in this situation to begin with? How did Funny Marco bite off more than he can chew? And let me give some applause to Funny Marco. He showed some resilience in this time in which most men would emotionally exploded. I'll explain what I mean. Funny Marco went and wrapped his arms back around Bobbi because she had effectively took his style and it looked like she was about to be bigger than he was. I believe that over the last 6 to 8 months, he's noticed some decline as it pertains to the level of people that want to associate with, the cachet from our culture, because she kind of blew past him in regards to cachet. Just people like, yo, the big wigs are going there. And now you see Funny Marco interviewing people like Nicki Minaj and other extremely big names. So he's landed on his feet. But I could imagine there was a time where he was panicking. Like, oh shit, she just stole the ball from me. She literally just came in, and she stole the ball. This is why most of these industry niggas won't collab, but they won't reach out. And a lot of rap dudes don't want to sit with me because I'm the truth. And so when you sit with the truth, you can't be lying. You can't be lying sitting next to the truth. It's hard to lie sitting next to the truth. The darkness will leave when the light show up. But when you looked at her back in the day, it looked like she was running off with the style. And so if I'm in podcast land with the conversation, Funny Marco looked at Bobbi and said, you stole from me. I'm going to wrap my arms back around you and get what I can from you. Maybe he even bit into the stereotypes that she's a white girl. She's in this space. She's going to go much further than I'm going to go. Maybe he believed that because that's, you tell me what other reason would call for Funny Marco to even go on tour with Bobbi? She has no experience. It's clout. It's because she was clouded up. She has zero experience as it pertains to being a comedian. Now, 8-10 months later, the volume has got lower, and now it's all of a sudden she's not doing good comedic stuff online. Well, she's not doing nothing different than what she done when you started the tour. She was just more lit then. She had the Drake co-sign, and nobody was pushing back. Nobody was saying nothing. Everybody was running over there to do interviews because everybody does what? Black music and white media. Hey, yo, to see the rest of this podcast, the rest of this interview, or the rest of this clip, come to patreon.com and sub their podcast. I got merch, and I got live tickets for our live shows. I'll see you at It's Up There Podcast on Patreon. And if you want to just stay on YouTube, just click one of these boxes. One of these. Or these. One of these 2 boxes. This one to subscribe. And this one will bring you right to Patreon. All right? Salute.